Hey guys, welcome to the KFO Fishing with Gramps a live show mashup tonight. Gramps, we're trying a new thing tonight.
Yeah, we are. I was jamming to the tunes.
I
I
know,
seen
right?
Christina running on the background the whole time.
I almost forgot the countdown because I was reading everybody's back and forth. Oh man.
This
So
is
this
awesome. This is a great new feature from StreamYard we're playing with tonight, being able to stream to both of our channels at the same time with integrated chat so we can see everything from you guys all in one place. This is really slick. I'm glad you brought this up.
Hey, you know what? I got lucky. I actually was reading some of the emails they're sending out. I was like, hey, who do I want to do this with? I was like, no other than JT. I knew you'd be up for it. And you were. You text, you're like, let's go. Here we go. Let's do it.
So, yeah. Hey, if we're going to try out something new, may as well do it together and learn together. And this is awesome so far. It's worked in perfectly.
Yeah. So I'm pumped about tonight. We kind of briefly talked about what we want to talk about. Of course, we want to, the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series is in motion for you. Mine starts in next month. And so want to kind of download on everybody kind of what that's about if you haven't heard about it and answer any questions and really kind of lean into this because it is already kind of taken off and we're really early on. So excited about that. Fishing with JT and I, we got our drones license recently, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. Why we got it, the ridiculousness behind it, and I know you're at the Bassmaster Classic, and there's all kinds of things we can get ourselves into. But this is an interactive show, so we of course want to take comments from everybody else. JT, what are some things you wanted to chat about tonight?
Oh, we can do a little recap on the classic. That was interesting. It's funny because I've been a life member for forever, it seems like, and this is the first one that my brother and I ever went to. We figure, hey, it's 5 hours away. How could we not go? So, you talk about having an adventure there. Obviously, we're in spring for, you and I being in the Midwest. We can talk about we're finally getting out on the water. I think you've been out a little bit. I finally got out for the first time with Freedom Squad this last weekend. So, we can cover even into some of that too. It's just, there's all kinds of goodies we can talk about.
Picked it up. I like it. Well, here before we kick off, always love to give credit where credit's due. A lot of times these shows don't happen without our sponsors. So, JT, you want to go first? Like, I know who yours is because it's everywhere, everywhere. And you do a good
Obviously,
job. And
we
they do
know
a good
that
job for
Fishing with
you.
Gramps is sponsored by American Legacy Fishing Company. It's my favorite place to get rods, reels. They have a great trade-in program. So if you're looking to upgrade, maybe you got your tax check back and you're wanting to kind of move some of your older stuff off, you can trade that in and apply it towards credit plus some to, get new stuff from, American Legacy Fishing, which is one of the top online retailers. And also playing on that, they have a great used program. I don't think there's been anybody that I've met so far that hasn't bought a used product from American Legacy Fishing and said, I don't think anybody's ever fished with this. Because apparently, whenever they take the trade ins and stuff that people review and send in for trade ins, they basically return it back to factory, like it's brand new out of the box.
Wow.
And it's a great way to save some money if you're fishing more on a budget too. So, yeah, proud to say that American Legacy Fishing was my first partner with Fishing with Gramps, and I'm a lifelong customer, just bar none. They're south of me in Evansville, Indiana, and can't say enough great things about them. They let me play with all kinds of goodies, so it's a real pleasure working with such a great company.
Yeah, awesome. I know that my sponsor, as you guys notice, right behind both of our heads, you'll see maps. These are from usrivermaps.com. And Jeff Hongensmeyer, I think he's actually in the comments. Jeff, you're there. Say, hey, if anybody has any questions. He owns this company, does a bang up job. These are printed on canvas. They're hydrological maps. I know you can't see it in great detail. It just looks like a blue map of Ohio, but it gets nitty gritty and you can see all the waterways in the state of Indiana, the state of Ohio, or anywhere. So go check him out. And for those of you on a podcast tonight, you can get $35 off, or you just, that's the code, get the number 35 off, and you do that at checkout and you'll be set to go. Gramps, I didn't tell you about this, but anybody who signs up to be a channel member on my show or anytime this week for me will get a $10 gift card from Cast Cray. And I'm extending it to anybody who decides to be a channel member for your channel on the live show tonight. we will also send them a $10 gift card to Cask Gray. So those are kind of those are the news and the updates tonight. Let's kind of move from that. Thank you to our sponsors. Let's talk Knucklehead because JT, I was on Fishing Chaos today. There are 250 anglers already involved in this. Almost
I know.
1,200 fish posted and 394 tickets, which tells you that out of the 250 anglers, there are over 100 that are signed up for
Yep.
multiple teams. So we'll get into that in a little bit too. So yours already started. So I'll let you talk a little bit about this. So, like late for those who maybe this is their first live show, what is the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series?
So in a world where obviously, Darren and I are both promoting kayak fishing and as a fun way, say you've started fishing and you started out bank angling and you've kind of got that down and you want to move out offshore a little bit. A lot of people can get a John boat, a bass buggy. I've done this, the V bottom John boats. But I mean, I've found even with my old broken down self, today's modern fishing kayaks, whether you spend, 300 on a Wally World special or, get up into the more expensive ones like the Cadillac, you can find something that fits your budget and get you off the banks, and it opens up a whole new world of fishing that's really kind of affordable. It doesn't matter if you have my son, my youngest, has a Fiat and will car top his. Our friend Samet Searcher Bobby, he's been car topping until he bought my trailer over the winter, was car topping a big wilderness system on top of his. And, the great thing about kayak fishing is it just opens up a whole new way of fishing. Plus, you can get out with your buds like me and the Freedom Squad and a bunch of the others like to do, and just get out, float, and shoot the breeze and, chase some smallies and largemouth and, just have a good time. So, in a world where there's a lot of competitive, pro side of it, which, my brother and I participate in as well, not, super high level, but, we've been to a championship and, like playing in the tournaments. But KBF decided that, there's a place for recreational challenges. And that started last year with the Catch 22 program, where, we did an online challenge where people catch 22 fish in, the state they live in. And we did a fundraiser for last year it was Mission 22, and this year is for Heroes on the Water. And that was really popular. So it got people into either bank fishing or kayak fishing, putting your fish on a catch board, measuring them, uploading them for a good cause. We got some dog tags, lots of great prizes were given away. I think we gave away 3 fishing kayaks.
Come on,
Like
now.
an Old Town and an Old Town Autopilot, actually, and then 2 decked out bona fides. And
You give away an
that
autopilot?
spawned,
Where
huh?
was
What's
I?
that?
Where was I when you're giving away this autopilot? Man, I missed out
Go.
on that.
Chad had a big drawing. I mean, he gave away like tons of Fish USA gift cards, and so we really are he just gave away actually a Jackson Coosa kayak, and the guy who won it lives like an hour away from me. So when I go down and see Chad here in the near future, I'm actually going to bring the winner, John Gittner's kayak, back up to Indiana with me from Huntsville. So it's kind of really cool. So this year, Chad was like, we need to expand on this. We need to get more recreational folks out having fun, doing like we're doing. So he came up with this, tournament series that's kind of, yes, we can post in the comments. I see your chat. They can they took kind of like the foundation that KBF uses for the state challenge thing, and they simplified it so that bank anglers, kayak anglers can participate and do month-long challenges. And we're going to be giving away prizes. I know Gene, the Fluke Master Jensen, and Chad Hoover both are going to be giving away bona fide kayaks. I'm actually going to be giving away an Old Town fishing kayak. I think some of the prizes that I've secured so far for people who participate in Team Gramps, I'm going to do the whole pool. Everybody who joins any and all of the Team Gramps, stuff is going to be in a drawing for an Old Town fishing kayak. It's going to be shipped from Old Town to your door. I've secured a couple of different one's a Dakota Lithium 23 amp battery. Another one's going to be a Dakota Lithium 10 amp power box. So if you got a smaller kayak and you just got a small fish finder you want to juice, got $100 American Legacy Fishing gift card. I know I'm missing something from somebody, but I've started to put together little things. From Luz and Strike King, a tier 1, their new model, the tier 1 American Hero rod and reel combo of your choice. Got that from Tom at Luz. So I've been working on trying to, for people that participate, in the Knucklehead for Team Gramps. So what it comes, enough of all the sales pitch, but what Knucklehead is it's 4 1-month long challenges, and you can fish any public water. So I tell people this is a little bit different than like the KBF state challenges, because like here in the Midwest, if you're in Indiana and you want to go fish in Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, next door to Illinois, you're going to Florida or Alabama or Texas, wherever you're at, you can upload those fish during the tournament period. It's kind of like a nationwide kind of thing as long as you're in public water. So that gives, somebody, if they're going to be traveling around, hey, they can still hammer fish wherever they happen to be on public water. But the winner of each month challenge earns their way into a spot on the team of the influencer you join. So Team Wendell Fishing, Team Gramps, Chad Hoover, we've got Alex Rudd, we've got Gene Flukemaster Jensen, we got the MMA guy Guida. Recently, the average, I always call them the Burley Boys. Sorry, guys. The aggressively average anglers each have a team.
Just call them AAA. That's what I call them now.
Chad is working on, I think Larry Melton Jr. might be jumping in. Alex Rudd is jumping in. So, this thing could keep getting crazier even towards the end of the season. But there's the comment. I knew it was going to happen. Is there a frog challenge? If there is, I already failed. So at the end of the season, the people who win each of the top, the top spots in each of the things earns a spot as a angler on our team. Now, say if the person who finishes first is in 2 of them and he wins both, well, he'll pick one influencer over the other, and then the person in second would roll up in that spot. Or say they win and they can't go, then the person that's below them can move up into the next spot. So the point is, you're going to creating all these, 5-person teams. We're going to gather on Veterans Day weekend at KBF headquarters, and we're going to have what we're calling the Heroes Cup. This year, everybody is fishing for a charity of their choosing. Like me, I'm fishing for the Fallen Outdoors Indiana chapter. Chad is fishing for Heroes on the Water, again for that. So it's kind of up to each, influencer. I know like Alex Rudd's into the cancer research thing. The Burley guys have done things for autism anglers, things like that. So everyone's got a cause that they're fishing for. And we're going to have the Heroes Cup and duke it out. Now, the cool thing about this is, say it's like, I'm fishing on Team Gramps and somebody in Florida is just beating everybody and I can't compete with that. Well, what they've set up is a Friday. It's a Fishing Chaos fan fish off. So if you put up 5 fish in any one of the events, you are welcome to join us on the Friday before the big event, and they're having the fan fish off. And everybody, buys their way in. I think it's a $50 entry fee.
Yep.
Half of that pot goes back to whoever wins, that event, and the other half goes to the bigger pot for the Heroes Cup. And then the top 5 in that tournament create their own team. So then you will then have the shot at knocking off all the creators. So we think that's a really fun way to kind of get everybody involved. Even if you don't win, there's going to be chances at all kinds of good prizes. That each of the anglers, everybody's putting together bait packages and things like that. And, just all kinds of goodies too. But again, it's for a good cause at the end. Like I said, we're splitting. They're going to split it up. So if you win the Heroes Cup, your team wins the $10,000 pot to split. So if you're the 5-man team, you split that 5 ways. If you're on me or, Darren's thing and we knock Chad off and win, then we don't get a cut of that. You guys split the $10K 4 ways. So it's going to be really fun. It's only a $15 buy-in fee. For example, to compare, the KBF monthly state challenges are $50. So these at only $15 is a great, cheap, inexpensive way to get in, get you a ticket, and put 5 fish on the board. Even if you don't win, you can still come down there and join us. We're going to be on Gunnersville in the fall. Wheeler on the fall. It's
Mm,
all right there. There's so
mm.
many big bass that come out of down there. And I'm going to be going down and shooting a little promo footage with Chad the week after next. So maybe he can help me catch this frogfish that I need to end this streak. And everybody in my channel will rejoice. And then I'll give away a whole bag of frogs that I will never throw again.
Love it. Hey, you're giving it to Chad on your promo video. I saw that.
Okay. Army versus Navy, baby.
Hey, you clown him a little bit. You got his the classic, by the way. You had me rolling when you pulled his video of him getting stuck in his line.
You heard what he said. I don't have a snowball's chance in Arizona. You think you're going to get away? I'm right here. I'll be clapping back.
I feel bad for him because if he wins, he gets no credit because it's his home lake, and if he loses, he hears
He's
about
going to
it
get
from
all the crap.
so he's a no-win situation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So that's
Yeah,
gonna be
but
great.
I think it's a great thing. It's a great cause. I think it's going to really help. I think it's really going to help a lot of people find their way into a kayak for the first time and enjoy it. And you and I are all about that. You've been doing kayak content. I'm going to be starting doing, you know, it's all going to be about the kayaks from now on. I'm going to be
Selling your
starting
boat?
my coming here in the very near future. It's going to be a very beginner how to find your first fishing kayak and go from there.
Are you selling your boat? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Man,
Are you selling your boat?
I might. I just so I just sold my Harley Davidson, my pride and joy
Oh
that
man,
I haven't that I spent less time on than the boat.
it's next.
But I don't know. I've got the boat for now. I say I'm going to keep it to take my sons and the grandbabes fishing, but I can always go rent a pontoon later if I wanted to. So
You could have a fleet of fishing kayaks in your garage.
that's
Not up
kind
on
of
the
what I'm.
wall.
Yeah.
It's coming. I'm calling it. You're gonna do it. Here, we got a bunch of comments here. Let me see. Elizabeth, I purchased another 4 tickets for next month. Awesome. Cooler lid. Seems like yesterday we are talking about don't test out the Autopilot 120 if you're not ready to buy one. It's what we got
Yeah.
here. Kyle Turner. My practice starts tomorrow for Team Wendell. My man. I love it. One Kush one. When does Team Wendell start? So mine starts next month. So it starts in May. I'm doing a May, June, July, and August. Um, JT, if you guys want to hop on team this month, like you got to, the weather's looking fine this week. So I know Saturday, a lot of us are going to be getting out in the water,
Oh yeah.
at least up here in the Midwest. And so if
Yeah,
you want to
and the
hop on
other
the
thing
team
is you
now,
can join any team at any point in the thing. So if you think it's not like KBF rules where you have to be signed up on April 1, it's it's April 11th. You can sign up tonight and start fishing and uploading team to, fish to any team that you want to give your show, is it aluminum? If not, how much would you let it go for? Yeah, Brandon, my boat, just go back to last winter when I did all the walkthrough and reviews on it. It's a low 1675 fishing machine and it's got hummingbirds on it, and it's ready to fish.
ready to sell. That's what it is. Hey, oh, we didn't mention this. Maybe we did, but I want to reiterate a little bit. If you like, hey, I want to fish on 2 teams. You want to fish on my team and fishing with Gramps. You can do so in the same month. So I know you
Yeah,
mentioned that a little bit, but just wanted to you can if you're independently wealthy, you can sign up for all of them.
yeah.
So you can do whatever you want to do there. Thomas Potts said, very cool for sure getting a knucklehead next month. My man. RJM, I feel bad for you, brother. Just think
Oh, look
I'm
who's
the
in the
poor
chat.
guy judging all the fish. That's the saddest thing I ever heard. You're not going down? He's got to go down. He's got to go down. I don't know. All right. Already Old Town Angler. At least I qualified to fish the event the day before. That's right. Fan fish off. No matter what, if you want to hang out with everybody for the weekend, come down for the fan fish off. So go and mark your calendars there. And Bowfin Junkie making fun of me over here. This is just orange juice, folks. Calm down, Bowfin. Bowfin, actually, we went fishing this past Friday and we nailed a few. So that was fun. it's kind of my first time out, getting some big ones there. All
You
right, so
notice
that's
the King
Knucklehead.
Knucklehead is in the chat.
Say what?
The King Knucklehead is in the
Oh, he
chat.
is. Let me
He
see
heard us
here.
talking hashtag beat Chad.
Yeah, speaking of participation trophies, there he is. You can sign up for any team you want. Any Chad, hop on, hop on. I'm gonna send you something. Hop on the show here. Come on over. I'll put you up on the screen. We'll chit chat a little bit.
There you go. We'll have
All
some
right.
fun tonight.
So my charity, we're talking charities. I work for
Yeah.
an organization called Prison Fellowship, and we have an incredible kind of ministry to children of incarcerated men and women. So I'll be fishing for Angel Tree Camping because I know growing up myself, love going to camp. A lot of times, what's for a lot of the kids to go fishing for the first time, and so I will be pushing funds that way out of those registrations costs. So thanks everybody for signing up for those bad boys. All right. Gramps, let's move along here real quick. We can come back to Knucklehead if Chad decides to show his face. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
he said give him about 10 minutes and he'll pop in.
Okay, so everyone arm yourself to smack talk when he hops back on here. So I was looking at something. I got a question for you. I'm not
Yep.
sure what I think about this. So I was watching Van Milliken, which I awesome, incredible angler. And you guys, I'm sure if you have a YouTube, he's popped up in your channel sometime. And I had to double take on a Facebook post that I saw of his. Now I don't know Ben. That's not about Ben because a lot of people are doing what I saw, but I've been wrestling with it ever since. So he was selling his fishing spots. Have you seen this?
Hmm.
So he was saying, "Hey, I caught double digits, and there was a ton more down where I was at." And he was selling the waypoints, what he caught them on, where he caught them, and the time of what he caught them. And it was $500 for that spot. I think it's called like fish spots or fishing tips or something like that. If anybody knows, oh, here it is, fishtips.com. So if you head over to fishtips.com, there's all kinds of guys and girls, I'm sure, who will sell you their fishing spot for a price.
I mean,
Is that where our
okay.
industry is going? What's going on? I'm not sure what I
Well, okay, to be fair, Josh Jones, who's one of his Team 6 guys, who also catches monster double digits.
Oh yeah.
I mean, would you pay 500 for waypoints and info or 2,500 for a guided trip to go to his waypoints and then you got nothing after the fact? You might catch a big, but I mean, it's yeah, it's I mean that's an interesting concept. I mean, for Ben, I get it. He's throwing his butt in the ring trying to fish the Elite Series, which is he had a really good outing his first one out, and I think his next one is coming up. I mean, boy, I don't know. I hadn't heard of that, but I got to say I'm kind of conflicted about it because how much how much have I spent in my lifetime in gear and travel and stuff to go chase my PB and come back blank, you
Oh,
know? So boy, that's a tough one. I mean,
we got
it's
all
that's
all kinds of comments over here. Like I posted a
yeah.
poll. I posted a poll. Let me see. What we got here. Oh, I can't even see it now. What in the world? Would you pay money for a fishing spot? So go ahead and hit that poll. Right now we got 9 votes. We need more than that. So I'm gonna let that run for a little bit. We'll circle back on that second. Let's read some of the comments here. All right. Don't fish the moment. Sell waypoints too. I'm not sure. I mean, I've seen some of his videos, but I don't follow him.
Yeah.
But Brown Bait says just because you know where the big ones are, I mean, it doesn't mean you catch them, right? They're going to tell
I
you what
mean,
they
that's
catch them
fair.
on and all the waypoints, and you might see them down there on your live scope. But I mean, they're doing something. Chad says he'll sell you some spots for for $4.99.
That's where he's gonna take me fishing in a couple weeks.
Yeah, he's going to show you all the spots on Gunnerville. Oh yeah, I'll show you all
Yeah,
the good
right.
ones.
Yeah, he's gonna put me on all the spots to beat him. Sure.
I have a secret weapon. So I have a guy that lives on Wheeler.
Ooh, that does
That's
make it nice.
yeah, and so I got an in, so he's gonna let me know where all the spots are. So hey, if you're thinking about joining a team and you want to in, like I live up in here in Ohio, I have no clue where the spots are, but I do now because I have an inside man. Watch out. All right, cooler lid. That's grimy.
Yeah.
Brown bait. That is dumb. Caroline Bass Hunter. Mine aren't for sale. Oh, I love this one. Old Town Angler. I'm about to make some money, and I will sell you all the Gramps waypoints. Your brother's
That's
selling you out.
I know, just that fast.
That was quick.
I took them to Lake X one time, and now they're all selling me out.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I can't even read all these fast enough. There's a ton of them in here. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go back. Let me check. I got to go over to YouTube to check this out. All right. Would you pay money for a fishing spot? We have 27% saying, oh, yeah. 73, well, now 69% saying never. So, would you pay for one, Gramps?
It took me a long time to even get to the point where I would use modern electronics. And
Mm,
I'm not Randy Blaukat in any way, shape, or form. But for the longest time when I've been kayak fishing and even into a lot of the tournament stuff for the last couple of years, I had a little fish finder that was basically depth and water temp. I still like the excitement of just rolling down a bank and, pitching to a log, not knowing what's there, ready to anticipate the hook set at any time. I like the surprise. I spent last fall, learning and playing with down and side imaging more, had the live scope on the Cadillac. And, it was interesting and different. I've heard a lot of varying opinions. A lot of people think it's magic or whatever. And it's not. You still got to know what you're seeing, and you still got to get the fish to bite. But no, I can't say that I would buy waypoints. I mean, at some point, would I go on a guided fishing trip with somebody that like I'm a fan of? Probably. If that doesn't work, then I settle with fishing with Chad Hoover. But I got to meet Bill Dance. So I mean, life for me is good. But I mean, no, I mean, I doubt it. I mean, I like if I need to find someplace offshore, I can use maps that most states put out where they've put in like fish attractors.
hmm
Jeremy and I and Matt did some research like that from down at Kentucky Lake during the national championship, and so even though I had live scope and all that, I was still like fishing the way I knew. It wasn't really in play. I was just fishing spots. So no, I mean I don't think I would. I think if I was going to do something, I would spend my money with a guide where I could actually learn something from it. Somebody who knows the area can tell me more than me just punching something in my helix and then going to it. That being said, I still have modern electronics and I have a lot of learning to do, but I still like the adventure and the surprise kind of out of it. I'm putting together a river kayak that it's my son's, but when he's not in it, if I want to use it to go into smaller ponds and things like that, I'll keep the electronics simpler. Let me know how deep the water is, and what the temp is. But no, I can't say I would buy anything. But I still like the adventure of just me beating the fish. There's a log. Like Debo says, find wood, pitch the wood. I kind of still like the surprise.
Yeah. I'm going to answer this. If you haven't answered yet, I know a lot of you have, but if you haven't answered yet, even if it's yes or no, even though the majority are like, no, I wouldn't. If you are a yes, I want to hear from you specifically and why. I'm kind of I'm on the fence, to be completely honest with you, because I mean, they're posting double digits. I've never got a double digit. That'd be interesting. But the question is, you know, here, let's go over to these comments because I think it answers that for me. Um, I mean, here's Brown. Those fish are going to move most likely after being caught anyways, because now they know their prime spot's not safe anymore. All right, Chad, just gonna buy them and then resell them for $50. That solid strategy. I actually thought about this. Michael, more rewarding just to do the work yourself. Randy, I could pay for waypoints. It would ruin the excitement of finding my spots. I get that. I get that. I mean, I'm not Randy Blockett either, but I appreciate like putting in the work, and it's much more rewarding if from start to finish you find a spot, you find the big ends, and versus buying them. I don't know. Just because you see them on the screen doesn't mean to bite. I get it. And here's a good question from One Kush One. So he has 50 spots. I mean, is he selling the same 5 over and over again? How many is he selling?
Could
Or are
be.
they selling? I'm not just picking on Ben. You can do whatever you want, right? Free market. That's fine. I'm not picking on Ben, but there's a lot of guys on there, and most of them are like 35, $50 for the spot. And you look at those fish, you're like salivating. So I can see why people click on it. But are you going to show up and there's like 15 other kayakers like chilling on the same waypoints? That'd be
Oh,
kind of
so you
suck.
guys, if you're paying attention, you might want to pull the stream up on both channels because if he posts a poll, it'll show up on his and not mine. That's just
Oh,
keep in mind.
oh, my bad.
Chad, do you
My
want me
bad.
to email that to you or you want me to text you the link?
It's in
Tell
his
me where.
text. I sent him a text this morning. It has
Oh,
the link in it. So, Chad, let me
okay.
know if you need me to send that again. Actually, take over for a second. I'm going to send that to him.
No, okay, gotcha. I got it pulled up if you want me to send it to him.
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it. Go for it. Let me see if we got some 8 more comments over here. Nah. Bowfin Junkie says, for me, just starting out, I would love to get like a location of where I know I'll put fish in the boat. Later on down the road, it'd be definitely like to find my own spot. All right. All right. Um, this is also a solid point. Scott Hanneman, what's the guarantee that the fish are actually there, right? I can post up right now
100%.
some rando spots on a lake, and if you don't catch them, like, are you gonna get a refund?
Yeah.
No. I know the answer to
Or
that.
you buy multiple and just keep going back and forth until the fish move up.
Ugh. All right, let's go ahead and hop back over here. Thank you guys for chiming in on that. That was a bunch of fun, and I was just curious on selling. I honestly still don't know what I feel about it. I kind of go back and forth. But if you're interested in checking it out, fishtips.com, and you can kind of check all those out for yourself. All right, let's switch gears here a little bit. Fishing is grand. Let's talk about drone pilot license and why that matters to fishing content creators and how you can get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
So
So,
you put me onto this, so I'll let you go ahead and lead the way.
yeah, it's one of those things where I run into people and if you're not a monetized YouTube channel, it's not as big a deal because you're not considered commercial at that point. But one of the regulations in the US is if you use a drone for commercial purposes, which means if you have a monetized YouTube channel, if you take any of that footage and put it on your channel where, you can be they can fine you and they can actually fine you pretty big.
It's $1,100
So,
per instance.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it can get substantial. So there are some that, they use maybe drone footage to build a channel up until they get monetized. But then the wise thing to do is to hide those videos until you get your part 107. And when we started talking about that, you just like jumped in and said, I'm going to do it like next week. I had put this off like all summer. I bought a drone last fall and was like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. And Darren's like, I'm going to go do it right now. I was like, what? So we actually talked about, the fact that you need one for a channel.
Yep.
But I mean, we both are, kind of in agreement. We like to make the content that we like to watch. And I'm not really doing that yet, but I'm going to get there because, my goal over this next year to 2 years is to switch to, more about really showing what it is we love about this sport instead of talking about it so much.
Yeah.
So being able to capture that footage, it's nice to look at. So something I really want to pay attention to and do for creating future content. But yeah, we talked about it, and then we started researching what it took to get the Part 107.
Oh my
And
gosh.
tell us about your study experience and how that went.
Stupid. It's stupid. I did all my self study on YouTube, and you get a ton of places to try to sell you, courses and all that, which are fine. They'll get you to the same point. But I think I watched maybe 5 1-hour YouTube channels twice, and felt like I was in a good spot to. I mean, this is FFA. Like, it's not just like it's actually not even like how do you fly a drone. It's like
Yeah,
how do you
it
fly a
literally has
plane.
nothing to do with drone piloting.
Yeah, you gotta know what a pilot knows. That's what the FFA wants you to know, so you don't hit them. That's the whole idea behind it. So you have
Yep.
to understand the language they use and the codes and the METARs, which are like reports that are from the Stone Age. It is. It is silly, but we passed it. It costs around $175, and
Yep.
so you should start seeing some drone footage in our videos, and we won't be getting fined in the process. So I'm pumped about that. But I'm gonna pause. We can circle back on this, but we have in the green room the future third place winner of the Hero Cup, Chad Hoover, folks.
What's up, man?
Guest appearance.
Let me try to.
You're
I
like a
don't know where that
Walmart
light's
parking
coming
lot.
from. Yeah, I'm at the parking lot. Went shopping with that thing right there, my daughter.
Hey,
Oh, there she is. She is such a sweetheart.
The alarm went off, and I was like, "Oh crap! I'm supposed to be on the lot." Let me turn where I don't have that light coming in the back, real quick, out here in the distance, and then maybe it'll be a little cleaner.
oh, there we
He
go.
goes and
That's
finds
good.
another light.
Da-da-da. Yeah, I'm just gonna find another light, and then we'll just call it good. But yeah, that's a little better.
It is
All
better.
right.
There we go.
All right. By the way, Wendell or
Okay.
Darren,
Here it comes.
it is not the FFA, the Future Farmers of America, that regulate.
Hey,
It's the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration.
you're
I was
just
like, no
mad.
wonder
Study
this
that
test
one
was so
part.
hard. This dude's taking a test on flying drones for cattle and hogs, and I'm like, even Casey looked over and was like, "What?" So,
Leave me alone.
all right. Anywho, well, what are we talking about?
The
Talking about-
Knucklehead, the thing is blowing up right now. So I don't have a baseline, right? So I'm looking at this 1,200 fish posted. We're just getting started. Half of the anchors haven't even started their tournaments yet. Is this like normal, what you expected, above and beyond kind of what you hope for when you
Man,
kick this thing off?
I don't know what to expect with this thing. You know, the one thing that I've been wanting to do, and that knucklehead up there and I have talked about it quite a bit, is that I wanted to do something that's lower barrier to entry, not as elite, yet at the same time it was going to turn into something that could be, but yet still have everybody be involved. And the concept of fishing your way onto the team of somebody who you really, you know, like following or enjoy their content or whatever, while simultaneously supporting their channel, while simultaneously also supporting a cause, and it not necessarily having to be the cause I'm passionate about. It could be the cause you're passionate about. And so I'm fishing for for Heroes on the Water. And through the Catch 22 challenge from last year and the Catch 22 challenge for this year so far, I'm actually jumping on the phone tomorrow with Bonafide Kayaks to find out what I can do with the money that we raised so far to outfit my local chapter with however many kayaks that money will purchase, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so because they're doing it direct, it will allow me to make that money go a little bit further. And so the philosophy that I'm using is the 25, 50, 25 approach. 25%, at least for me, is going to cover operating expenses. Now, I'm also the one putting up the $10,000 for the guaranteed prize until it exceeds that. We need about 250 premium memberships or about 450 ambassador memberships for that to make sense. And so we're hoping that the exposure from it gets more people to join KBF. That way we can do more for the community. My goal long term, it's a 2-year plan. Obviously, if you follow me, you've seen we've had some hiccups financially, which is to be expected when you go through a divorce and some of that other stuff. But I kind of hoped I would slide through, you know, when 50 things go bad at the same time. You know how they say when it rains, it pours. I just haven't had the extra resources like I've had in the past to shore it up. And so this is actually a really good way to also transition to doing something that's not so cash intensive, like the trail. Between the checks, the trophies, the tournament director fee, the person that I pay to run it, the judging and all that, each trail that I run is over $10,000 just to have it.
Oh, wow.
And you know, I've had to make some tough decisions this year with like the one that we had in St. Clair and the one that we had in Grand Lake with poor turnout and low signups. We just had to cancel the events. Yeah. And so for these events, what's cool about it is very low barrier to entry.
Yep.
A good portion of the money is going to go to a charity. And then the way I'm planning on doing it is with the 50% getting reinvested into the challenge. I'm using that as the carrot on the stick. So, for example, I put up a kayak for myself to get Fluke Master in. I put a kayak up for him just because, you know, he had spent his whole year last year blowing KBF up. So it was kind of the least I could do because he was out fishing tournaments and such. And then when John went Creek Fishing Adventures, I got on his live stream the other night, and because he had come out of the gate so strong promoting it, and he had the #1 sign up, you know, out of the gate. Then I put up a kayak for his, for everybody that enters a 5-fish limit, who's a KBF member over the course of the 4 months. So for the folks that are out there going, well, I don't think I could win because it's nationwide and I can't compete with Florida, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, whatever. You can still enter 5 fish and you're eligible to come down to fish in the fan fish off. And you're also eligible to win whatever prizes that the influencer, the team captain puts up, because to me, that's more based on participation, not just on winning. So that way the winner wins their way in at that shot at the money. And then the people that don't win enter into a drawing. Now, to not punish the winner, for mine, when I do the drawing, I'm drawing from everybody that has a 5-fish limit, which will include the winner. So they do have a shot at winning it, just like everybody else, but it's just not guaranteed that they win and they take home all the prizes. Long term, what I'm hoping will happen, and this has happened in my career, so I've got a pretty good mind of where this is going or where it can go, is in the past I've bought prizes to use for tournaments at cost, made the money go further. Then in the subsequent comebacks to that same organization, they're like, hey, let me give it to you because it's for a good cause. And I go, cool. Well, can you give it to me, but still let me buy some? So then now, not only is the money going double the distance because I'm getting it at a discount, but now they're kicking some in for free and I'm buying some. So then when you guys can do the same thing, when it's all said and done, you know, this thing should be $150,000, $200,000 worth of prizes being given away. I truly believe that we'll be in that 25 to 50K payout next year. And I think it's just something fun to grow on. And then the wild card is, if you enter 5 fish in any one, you're qualified to come down for the fan fish off and the top 5 anglers in that event. Now, remember, there's people that are leery about the whole, I can't compete against this person or that person. By just catching your 5 fish, which proves you know how the rules work, you know, you have the right measuring board, you know how to put your hand on the fish, you know where you can and can't, you know how to use the identifier, you got to make sure you have your PFD on, all those things. You're now qualified to come fish in the fan fish off. If you finish in the top 5, that's a new team. That new team now fishes against everybody else. Now think about it, guys. 5 people who come down and fish really well that day. And now that I know that you can do this, I might even be selling spots so that you can come down and fish in the fan fish off, you know, for like $1,200-$1,500. I'm not going to be cheap like Ben. And remind me to come back to that, because I think that's a slippery slope, and I've got some Randy Blockett-esque commentary on it. Okay. Not the way he does it. I actually almost did a YouTube video on the worst channel on YouTube, and I was going to call him out because he like contradicts himself so many times it drives me crazy to the point I can't even watch it. But that's squirrel. We're on I don't want to bash anybody either. But the cool thing about the deal is we're tying competition with camaraderie with charity.
Yep.
And I'm almost kicking myself for not having like done this sooner, right? Because to me, it's almost the perfect formula. Obviously, we're going to have to tweak it. We're going to have to dial it in, you know, manage it. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens when a couple of Elite Series pros jump in, when Clay Guida kicks off his marketing and promotion of it. He's got a huge following. And then obviously when all of us really double down and start pushing it, because now the water's thawing out everywhere. Now people are getting fired up about fishing. Now it's kind of, you know, the momentum's going. I know there's going to be a friendly rivalry between Rudd and John, because they do that with everything that they do. I know there's going to be a friendly rivalry between, me and JT, because I don't really have to worry about Team Gramps. So it's easy to play, to play fun.
Heard that in the Army Navy game as well.
Because let's be real. He's never caught a fish on a frog. We're fishing 2 frog lakes.
True. Big facts.
If you follow him and you accept the fact that the guy hasn't caught a frog fish, you probably aren't that great of a fisherman either. So really what they're going to end up doing is just wearing aprons and serving the meal that evening, to be honest with you,
See, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to prove whether or not Chad is as good of a teacher as Fluke Master, because I have an X-Pride B heavy. I have braid with 30-pound, monofilament big game leader, and I boiled a bunch of frogs because somebody told me to. So we're going to see how well it actually works. And I'll probably go out with him and catch one first thing, I get down there. And then the challenge will be over and I'll be free from that stupid frog challenge. And then he's going to bill me for a guide trip. That's what's going to happen.
All BS aside, because we are just throwing jabs at each other for fun. Team Fluke Master is the team to beat. And here's why I say that. One, he's already got some hammers. He is a great teacher. And as much crap as I talk about the dude, because he's literally like my best friend, he got sick of the YouTubers can't fish thing last year and went out and fished the KBF Trail Series. He actually won 2 events. He got DQ'd from one of them because he broke the rules. He would have still probably won it if he would have stayed in his kayak, but he broke the rule, fell on the sword, the whole thing, took it like a man, went back out and won another event, right? Was leading Angler of the Year on day 1 for the national championship, had some of his fish go away, still ended up finishing in the top 10, actually finished 2nd in Angler of the Year, which is crazy. And then he ended up being in the 10 and went down there and did pretty well. And so the guy proved he can fish regardless of teaching people to fish and that whole other 9. And more importantly, he got into the tournament mindset. He got into the competitive mindset, managing your time throughout the course of the day, having to catch fish from this time to this time, that whole thing. So he's got his kind of tournament muscle dialed in. I'm actually going to fish a local tournament this weekend because one of the things I'm going to start working on is my tournament muscle, meaning that time management, that map study, that actually, quarantining yourself to fishing a finite period of time and having to catch the fish within those conditions, within that location, so on and so forth. Do I have a home field advantage? Absolutely. But at the same time, everybody can come down here and fish ahead of time if they want to. There is no off limits period. The lakes are wide open. There's a ton of information out there. And more importantly, I'm going to be putting out pretty much nonstop content on how to fish Wheeler and how to fish Guntersville because I want people to be successful. I'm not going to be selling spots. I'm going to be posting them and just giving them away for free. So the thing about it, Darren, is to answer your question is this is the first time we've done it. So I don't know whether it's like, oh my God, or whether it's like, whatever. The only thing I can compare it to is the state challenge series. And like the most we've ever had in the state challenge series is around 750. And we're at a third of that and we're barely getting out of the gates.
Right.
So, to me, I'm happy with where it's at, right? I'm excited about where it's at. I'm really pumped about where we can go with it. And I'm really excited about the charity component and the fact that you're fishing for more than just yourself. And so for me, my goal is to do the 25 for cover and operational costs, 25 directly to the charity, 50% reinvested back into the actual promotion of the event, both for myself and for other people. And then I would like to shrink that 50% to where I'm still putting out a bunch of prizes and a big carrot on the stick for those that are wanting to compete, but more going to the charity. And then I'd also like to reduce the cost of operating it. So then I don't have to take the 25%. So ultimately I'd like to get around 75-25. 75 goes to the charity, 25% goes to a combination of running the event and reinvesting in the prizes, but still be putting out a significant number of prizes, because I've hopefully by that time earned contributions from sponsors who know that the return on investment's there, so I don't have to buy it anymore, right? So the cool thing about this concept was I thought of it from the person with, 5 or 10,000 followers all the way up to somebody that's got a huge following and relationships with brands, is if you can use that 50% to go to your sponsors or go to a company that you want a sponsorship with and say, hey, sell me product to use as a prize, and I'm going to show you a return on investment, and hopefully down the road we can build this rapport together.
Yeah.
I also want to be 100% transparent about how it's working, so people don't guess. So there's no fog and mirrors,
Mm-hmm.
It's just like with everything that goes on with KBF. We're doing great. I'm transparent about it. We're not doing great. I'm transparent about it. You can talk smack about me all you want to. What you're going to get from me is the truth. You know what I'm saying? And the truth is, I've never been more excited about a concept than this one. It allows us to have some fun. It allows us to have a reason to get together. I really am excited about the fact that there's going to be people that potentially show up that didn't fish in the challenge series because they just want to meet everybody involved.
Yep.
Then they get infected with kayak fishing because it is contagious. Then they get infected with fishing. They align themselves with somebody that's, whether it's a competitor, a team captain, somebody that's just there, and it gets them fired up about doing it the next year. And it gets them fired up about being a mentor. It gets them fired up about taking people fishing. It gets them fired up about, getting off the couch to get onto the bank, getting off the bank to get on the kayak. And then ultimately, the biggest payoff in the world for me would be that we do this for 10, 12, 15 years. And somebody that got excited about kayak fishing in the Knucklehead series is getting interviewed on a stage for Bassmaster or Major League Fishing or something like that. And they talk about how they got their start in the Knucklehead series. Does that make sense?
That's cool.
And I've already seen a couple of people. Yeah, my son and I got in this. He picked this team and I picked that team. We're fishing together and against each other at the same time, and we're having a ball. And to me, that's the little stories within a story that are pretty exciting.
Darren, post that comment that RJM Fishtails made at 9:22.
Oh, here we come. You guys ready for this? It is going to be the Sturgis of kayak fishing. I like that. I like it.
Yeah, hey, listen, you guys know me. I like to dream a little dream. I feel like if you've never failed, you've never dreamed big enough. You know what I mean? I don't know who said that. I've seen it a couple times, to be honest with you. I also believe that if you don't have a chance at failing, you didn't set the bar high enough. Right. And too many people safety up in life and only want to do what's safe. I'm a country music fan. The song "The Dance" from Garth Brooks has changed 5 meanings for me since I got divorced. You know what I mean? Like, you hear that song when you're in that first phase of separation, you like turn it off because you don't even want to hear it. Then you get it, you hear it again and it's tolerable. Then you hear it again and it's almost like the Rocky theme. It gets you fired up. Like, yeah, you know what? It sucked. It didn't work out. I learned from it. I'm a better person because I went through it. Ding, ding. You know what I mean? And so for me, my challenge is this. Like, you don't know how you'll do until you try. If you decide you can't win before you ever start, you can't. If you decide you're beat before you walk on the field, you are. You just are. And so for me, the cool thing about this thing is it gives you an opportunity. And the way I think people should look at it is to go out there and not fish against everybody else, but fish against yourself. I had a text conversation with a guy 2 days ago because somebody above him had an infraction, and he was sending me the stuff, and I was like, all right, I'll take a look at it. And he was like, yeah, man, I just wanted to point it out. I didn't want it to get to the end and blah, blah, blah. And I went and looked at the leaderboard, and I was like, oh, shoot. Yeah, if he loses that fish, that'll move you up. And he's like, yeah, but I don't want to win like that. And I was like, that is the best answer ever, you know, because the people that tear somebody down to get them DQ'd, to me, it's like, did you really win? You know, you know what I'm saying? Did you like really win if you just got the person above you DQ'd because they screwed up? They caught bigger fish than you. You could see it.
Right.
Now, granted, they have to follow the rules just like everybody else. And so, yes, you did beat them technically within the constraints of the rule set. But that's also why I wanted to do this very inexpensively. That way we could keep the cost low. You could learn a lesson. If you screwed up and you got a couple of fish DQ'd, wasn't the end of the world, wasn't $100 entry fee, wasn't, you know, take that lesson, roll it into the next month, and go out and catch the fish. I had one guy, you know, I'll just be straight with you, fighting mad about a fish getting denied. And I said, look, man, you know, if you're going to be mad at somebody, you should be mad at the guy that didn't read the rules. Then I let him rah, 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 for a minute. And then when he calmed down, I was like, are you good? He said, yeah. I said, listen, let me break this down for you. Having your fish denied didn't take away from the fact that you caught a 23-inch fish.
Yeah.
You still caught a 23-inch fish. Now, let me ask you a question. Was that the biggest fish you caught this year? He's like, yeah. I was like, did you fish harder because you were in the knucklehead thing? He's like, yeah. I said, so just as much as it stings that you lost that fish because you didn't read the rules, you didn't have the identifier in the photo, blah, 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 you still caught a 23-inch fish. And you caught it because you fished harder because you were in the knucklehead. Did you get your $15 worth? And he was like, damn, man, I didn't think about it like that.
I'll tell you what, though, the thing that I'm looking forward to the most outside of the tournament, outside of all the prizes that are given away and people winning kayaks, is knowing what's going to happen after we're off the water, any of those evenings down there on Veterans Day weekend. People are going to be sitting around campsites, sharing stories, talking about fish lost, talking about monsters caught. Somebody's going to catch their PB. Somebody's going to lose their, you know, all of those things that we hold and cherish, you know, in this sport. But getting to sit around and share it with other people that whole weekend. And then when you go back to work on Monday or Tuesday, telling those stories of all of the cool new people you met, the great time you had, and the fact that they cannot wait to do it again next year. That, for me, I'm just amped and pumped and just so ready.
And wait till they tell the story about when JT and Clay Guida did a wrestling match right in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? And then
that's what I'd pay for that.
How the 1.3 second submission was something you didn't even think was possible, but he pulled it off.
I didn't even think I could fall down any faster than I normally do.
Or the fact that nobody would even believe that we could get JT in one of those singlets. You know what I'm saying? One of those, like one of them wrestling things. You know what I'm saying? But
Nacho Libre.
You looking like Ginger Billy meets Ginger Billy meets Nacho Libre.
Wow, I got that image in my brain now.
Yeah, it's hard to
process that.
Wow. So let me give you a little bit of a dream of where I see this thing going. I've already had a couple of vendor sponsors say, hey, what's it going to cost to come to that event and set up a booth? I'm like, nothing. We're not getting a big sports complex or anything like that. It's going to be outside at a pavilion on the water. You can come set up for free. Oh, cool. So let me tell you guys that may not understand how the paddle sports industry works, why Veterans Day weekend is a good weekend. One, it's great fishing because it's not so cold that it's cold. It's not October, so it's not the doldrums. They are feeding up for that fall feed bag. it's the second spring. It really is. Okay. Unless you get some premature cold front, it's almost impossible to not have great fishing that weekend. But here's what's cool. The paddle sports industry somewhat resets in August, right after ICAST, when they introduce the new product. The season on paper starts over in August. You start pre-seasoning for the following year. So dealers are flushing out all their boats for the previous season, and they're bringing in the new boats for the next season. So the new stuff is out and the old stuff is discounted. And so what's cool about that time of year is we really have an opportunity long-term to turn it into like a pretty awesome gear swap at the same time, where brands show up to show off their new thing and blow out their old thing. And when I say brands, this is also rods, reels, lures, line, tackle. It's that perfect time of the year to get those smoking deals. It's that perfect time of year to get that transition. And there's no other trade shows going on. So it allows the vendors to send their reps, to bring their product, to do a demo day, to do all of those things, because it's just a good time of year. You know, the symbolic part of it, with it being Veterans Day, is great for me. And it's also one of those things where it's kind of the time of year I don't really want to be alone, being honest with you. It's one of those things that I've learned is a tough time for me. So being surrounded by a bunch of knuckleheads that are my extended family, selfishly, it's good for me. I also think it sets the tone for us to spend time with our extended family, to then kind of be the last blowout thing before you spend the holidays with your blood family, your real family, or whatever you want to call it. And so the timing of it's, in my opinion, it's almost perfect. It's already a 3-day weekend for most people. So it also limits the amount of time that you may necessarily have to take off work and all that other stuff. But I envision there being really good representation from brands down the road. I envision there being a really good seminar series that we can do. You know what I'm saying? Because long-term, I want this to be a 2-day event, to where you fish the first day and it's kind of the knockout round, and the top 50% of teams move on to day 2. And the teams that get knocked out do seminars and a meet and greet, kind of like the guys that don't make the Bassmaster Classic are at the expo on Friday and Saturday while the other guys are out fishing.
Yep.
Kind of do that thing. And then just turn it into, one of those things that's just more and more fun for the anglers, for the fans, for the influencers or the team captains themselves, because we don't really have a good opportunity to say, I see it in the comments all the time, dude, I'd love to meet you one day and shake your hand and all this other stuff. And I'm not saying this to sound, conceited or pretentious or any of that. It sucks for me when I see that, because I'm like, yeah, I'd like to meet you knuckleheads too, right? So this is the perfect opportunity to do that. It's the perfect opportunity. And all of us, like a lot of us, we know each other virtually. We see and respect the work that the other ones do, but we don't get involved with spending time together as much as we should. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to all come together and have a big think tank on how we can all better support the community and how we can create better content for what the user wants, not just content for what we want. Because I heard, JT talking about that earlier, and I'm going through that process myself now. I got a pretty blessed life. And so for me, the transition that my son and I are making is film everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because there's a cool factor to damn near everything that I get to do. And here's what I'll say about that. Other than the recent financial struggles that I've had because of the divorce and people not paying and all that other stuff, I've been very successful in a hobby. Like, I took what I love to do and made it my profession. And I hope that's inspirational to people to say there is a path. I've heard this stuff for years, some celebrity or some whatever on, some interview, like, I don't know, Joe Rogan podcast or something, like, you could be anything you want to be if you set your mind to it. that's actual bullshit, right? Like, I can't be a male model. I can't be a singer. You can't be a singer if you don't got a great voice. Okay. You can't be a model if you don't got the right look. I don't care how hard you work out, how you got to have certain things that are just, that are there. Right. But you can be something awesome. You can be something amazing if you believe in yourself. And I have suffered from too much belief in myself at times. I've suffered in an overconfidence to the point that I've painted myself into a corner at times. I've not recognized what was wrong with me when I was needing help mentally, and not having the courage to say it when I should have, to say, you can also be somebody who's been successful and then need help, right? And so for me, I really love the fact that the batch of people that we're putting together are people who have inspired people on different scales, on different levels. But together, think about what we can do. Think about how we can move the needle. And so when people ask me, why do you do what you do? It took a long time to be able to articulate it. Because let's be real, when you first start doing it, you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I staying up to 2:00 in the morning to edit a video to share my secret with somebody else? And let's be real, the first 6, 7, 8 years you do it, you don't make anything. It is rough, but we do it for the feedback. We do it for the affirmation from the person that we inspire to do it. And so that's not selfless either. That's selfish in certain cases, because you're doing it to get that feedback to affirm that what you're doing is helping people. And I can tell you this, when I was in the military, the best I ever became at a subject is when I had to teach it.
Yep.
And you can be the best subject matter expert in the world, but you won't be the best subject matter expert you can be until they make you teach it. Because once you start teaching it, once you go out there and you make a declaration, you're going out on a limb and saying, this is it. In the video I just did, 3 ways to level up kayak fishing, level up your kayak fishing. People are like, what about a motor or a depth thunder or this or that? I'm like, that's the one you thought of. I'm trying to give you 3 things that you can do to level up your kayak fishing that you might not have thought of. And then one guy actually called me Randy Blockett in the comment section. He's like, oh, you're the Randy Blockett of kayak fishing, because you said use your electronics if you have them, don't use them if you do have them. That doesn't even make sense. I'm like, then you didn't listen to the video. You know what I mean? Yep. But to me, us sharing those revelations that we have, and I'll tell you how I came up with the revelation on the don't use your electronics. I got so good at using electronics for a period of time that if I didn't see a fish on a graph, I didn't even cast. And I remember one time I was easing down this grass line, and I was looking, I was doing my thing. And I had found these 3, 4, and 5, and 6 pounders and was laying the smack down. And this kid paddles up to me, 20 years old. I'm 35, paddles up to me and he's like, hey man, I don't have a depth finder, man. What do you think I should do? I said, well, you can line up with this grass line right here, because you can see it go from light to dark. I said, or you can go over there by the bank and just kind of fish the laydowns and stuff that you can do intuitively. And he was like, okay, cool. I think I'll do that. What would you throw? I said, well, the water's kind of cold. They haven't moved up shallow yet, but the ones that are cold, are shallow, are going to be a little bit more lethargic. It's off peak. Here, man, throw a spinner bait. I said, throw a spinner bait. He's like, I don't got one. I was like, here, I gave the guy 2 spinner baits. This little bastard goes over there, second cast, 9 pounder. And I was like, you know what? I just sit here and gave this kid the advice on what I would do if I wasn't a slave to staring at this screen. So staring at that screen had handicapped me. Yep. Right? Because I wasn't paying attention to all the variables. I wasn't taking the comprehensive fishing into play. And I pretty much didn't even want to cast unless I saw them on the graph. Right. So that's the analogy that I made. if you don't have a graph, add it because it's going to help you find things you couldn't find. But if you do have one, spend some time without it. Turn it off. Go to standby. Fish intuitively. Don't, dude, I drive around right now on Gunnersville, and it literally looks like we're having a moment of silence on the lake because everybody's got their head down. They ain't even looking where they're fishing. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I think we're going to have a fishing tech neck problem over the next 20 years because these dudes are just fixed on their grass. But anything that helps people catch more fish, builds their confidence, makes us learn more about the fishery, in my opinion, is a good thing. And this whole argument that, oh, now they've gone too far. Okay, what about DSI? What about what about the other? So now you think this is the one. They said it about the Alabama rig. They said it about certain scents. They said, oh my God, oh, now the average guy can't even afford to fish anymore. Which, by the way, that's the biggest BS argument there is. Because every time there's a new technological advancement, all the other stuff gets cheaper. Yep. When DSI came out in 2006, the cheapest DSI unit was $900. You can now buy a Hook 5, right, that has got a triple shot transducer that's got DSI, 2D sonar, mapping, and side scan for under $500.
Yep.
Because there's another new big thing. So as these new technologies come along, it doesn't price the average person out of the sport. It prices them in to the last thing that they thought priced them out of the sport. So the technology stair step is huge, and competition breeds innovation, and innovation leads to all of us winning as consumers. And so that whole argument to me has always been moot. Am I going to use active target? Absolutely. Am I going to use active target every single time I go fishing? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? But there's a balance, and I think it's clickbaity to just go out and make these videos to say, this is now gone too far. Okay, so you're fine with graphite rods and braided line and, you know, no stretch fluorocarbon and hyper realistic lures and frequency identifiers, and you're okay with
his $80,000 boat,
your $85,000 boat going to a 4-stroke where your gas mileage got better, Google Maps, Navionics, all this other stuff. You know, if you're so dead set on that mindset, then stop using mapping and aerial photography before you go fishing. Yeah, that's the argument. Everybody that truly believes you shouldn't use any type of forward-facing sonar should never be able to use mapping again, because they're pretty much the same thing as far as what they reveal about the fishery. Okay.
Yep.
So to me, the technology arguments are moot, because every time that people think it's going to ruin fishing, it doesn't. You know, I remember when people thought, oh man, if we don't ban Alabama rigs, there ain't going to be no fish left. Every tournament's going to be won on an Alabama rig. And then people realized real quick, yeah, that's about a 3-month or 4-month out of the year kind of thing. It's also not going to be something that you can throw in 2 foot of water. It's also not going to be something that you can do everywhere. And so all of these little hypey, you know, ding dong, the witch is dead, blah, blah, blah. It's just like this Milliken selling spots thing. You know what's gonna help that? Capitalism.
Yep.
Because what's going to happen is somebody that doesn't like it, really doesn't like it, is going to go buy it, and then they're going to post it out of spite. And once they post it for free, he can't sell it anymore. So to me, that whole thing is going to self-regulate, right? The angler who's pissed off because he's exploiting his lake is going to go, oh yeah, F us. You just came to our lake and now you're going to burn the spot. Well, guess what? Burn back, bitch. That's how this sport works. And then you can't sell it because now the person who got mad that you're burning it just burned it for free. So it's going to lead to self-regulating. All this stuff self-regulates. You know what I'm saying? I made a joke about it.
I like John's comment from Creek Fishing Adventures, because he's talking about, you know, adding all of the more stuff on it. The more weight you put in your kayaks, the more you're going to keep him out of his creeks.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. So anyway, I could talk about this stuff all night long because I love it. But listen, I appreciate you guys having the conversation about the knucklehead thing. to answer your question, Darren, I went around my elbow to get to my back pocket. It's the thing that I'm more excited about than anything I've been a part of yet. And it's not mine, it's ours. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, I'm pumped. But here's what I can say to the folks that are watching. If you're on either of these teams up here, you better come with your hammer cocked, because I am not going to let the guys that fish on my team, that work their butt off, that earn their way on. Justin Faircloth won that first challenge for me. Jason Starley won it for Gene. They both had 113 inches. Here's the other thing you guys have to realize. This is going to be an absolute spectacle of fishing. Think about it like this. You're putting together 5 team members of people. Both the weakest link on the damn team might be the captain, because these other guys are running a gauntlet to get there. But when you take the knowledge base that most of the captains have, combine that with 4 people who are absolute hammers, I'm going to tell you what my team and I are going to do. We're going to have Zoom calls for once a week for a month leading up to the event, doing map study and doing app study and talking about the situation that's going on the fishery and all that other stuff. And I suspect that everybody else is going to be doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But when you consider that you're going to have 4 people that won monthly events that put up big numbers, combined with each other, pooling their collective strengths and going out on 2 world-class fisheries, bro, this is going to be a donkey fest.
That's all I want to see is a bunch of monster fish. I mean, I can't imagine what it's going to be like that time of the year. Just
and you know what I've never done in kayak fishing? I watch these videos of, like, I watched Van Dam one time. I was at the Classic and they had kind of given me like a little VIP area because one of my sponsors was a big sponsor of Bassmaster. And so I got to go in the production room where all the screens are. And they cut away from Van Dam because he had to use the bathroom. And so what he had to do to use the bathroom is shut the camera off. He had to have a Bassmaster boat come in and hold his spot. He had to run 15 minutes or 1,500 yards away, take a piss, and then run back and then start fishing again because he had this flotilla of boats following him. So he couldn't just, whip it out, and he didn't have the little tent like some of the guys have pulled off or whatever. But here's what I'm going to say. This is the first event where I actually think we should encourage folks. Hey, you fished the fan fish off and you didn't make it in the top 10 or the top 5. You fished all year and you didn't make it. You never even fished the Knucklehead series. Come to the meet and greet. But more importantly, meet us at the boat ramp and go follow, fish, post on social media. Be courteous and we'll have a brief about it. Don't get in their way. Don't pull into their spot after they do, because they might circle back to it. But how damn cool would it be for us to have an audience on the water?
Oh, yeah.
People watching, whipping their phones out and live streaming and taking photos, and it turning into an absolute spectacle for what we're doing, and giving these guys that win this thing are going to be household names in kayak fishing the first year. Over the course of years, it's going to be like, a star maker potential thing, because, you get 3 or 4 million followers combined amongst all the team captains, and we're all promoting each other, and we're all going to have to do a congratulatory video to the team that won it, because then we're going to turn around and throw the gauntlet down and say, I'm coming for next year right out of the gate.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to be celebrating that team win across all the platforms. And so you win that event, I'll put it to you this way. I'm going to lobby for every person that makes it on my team to be sponsored, that will have a lifetime benefit for them after this event, because I'm going to be in their corner lobbying for them. I'm going to be taking them to my sponsors and saying, hey, these are my team members. These guys have earned a spot. We went down to Guntersdale. We finished first. We won by 16 inches. Second closest team didn't even have a chance. these guys need to be supported. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to bring them under my wing and teach them how to do social media better, how to do the things that even haven't been doing as well as I need to be, and I'm doubling down on this year. But like, we're all going to, the rising tides are going to raise all ships because we're all promoting each other. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I just think it's awesome that we've got this spectrum of different types of people. I've already seen people pop up in my comments and say, only here because of Wendell Fishin, letting you know you're going to lose. And they
Yeah,
didn't
saw
even know,
that.
they didn't even know who I was before we
Who
started.
was that? Who's my best friend?
And so it's like, this is exactly why this is happening, is so we can cross pollinate our audiences, you know? Yeah. So
Chad, question for you.
Yeah.
Do you, I mean, the teams we have now, I know you just launched probably 4 extra teams. Is this going to get any larger?
Yes.
Or so you're adding teams as we go?
Yes.
Is there a cap?
There is, but there's potential exceptions if like the right person comes along. We're at 9 now. I'd like to settle around 12 to 15.
Okay.
You know, and then kind of progressively add more in subsequent years to get around that 25 mark. I think kind of much more than that, it gets a little bit too much, you know? So we just added Clay Guida, Alex Rudd Fishin, Jeff and Paul from the Aggressively Average Anglers. They did individual teams. So they're going to have like a team within a team kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll tell you who I'm talking to because I'm going to call them out. So John Cruz is on the fence just because of the time of year. Mike Iaconelli is on the fence because he's got to make sure that the time is available. So you guys go light up John Cruz's comment section on all of his YouTube videos and all of his social platforms. Go tell Ike that he's scared because it's out of a kayak and he has to have he only takes that kayak down off the top of his truck like 2-3 times a year. And so this would be like a 25% increase in the number of times that he fishes out of it. So y'all go call Ike out and tell him that kayak with the teeth on the front, really the bark is way worse than the bite. And we're challenging him to come down here and get in on this thing. And I talked to Fat Cat Newton the other day, so he's considering it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And we've got a few other, surprises up our sleeve. Clay Guida is going to call out another UFC fighter who's in camp right now. By the way, Clay's in camp. So you guys go light his social media up and say, hey, man, when are you going to start posting about this fish?
Oh, he's gone.
I think we ran his phone dry. There he is.
Oh, he's back.
Sorry about that. Somebody tried to call me. But yeah, Clay is in camp right now. He's got a fight. And as soon as he's done with the fight, he's coming in full bore. Clay's going to call out a couple of the UFC fighters that have called themselves the best fishermen in the UFC. Gilbert Gillespie, Michael Vick. I think he's even going to call out Chad Mendez, who I'm actually friends with him as well, or, acquainted with him as well. Not as good of friends with him as I am with Clay. I've actually fished with Clay several times, and his family stayed at my house. I've stayed at his house, that whole thing. And the dude is just a good dude, and he's actually a really good angler. So
any luck with our guys over in Texas?
What's that?
Any luck with our guys over in Texas?
So one of the guys that we reached out to is in the middle of a charity that he does this month every April, and didn't want to be distracted from it because that's his sole focus for the month of April. And I respect that. So he's going to let me know early on. One other guy just committed. So Mr. Larry Melton Jr.
That's who I was asking.
Is on board. He actually committed last week. I've just got to figure out what he wants his team name to be, what months he wants, all that kind of stuff. He and I are going to actually try to get together next week or the week after that and fish because we both are in Alabama.
Yeah, he and I talked about it at the Classic, so I was hoping he was going to finalize and come in.
He's in. I'm still waiting on Brandon Mays. Brandon Mays is that bass fishing dude, the world's tallest kayak fisherman. He does autism awareness every April. That's his thing. We're not going to mess with that at all. And so he's going to just think it over and let me know. Tyler Real Fishing was down to the fact that he got married last year. He's in the middle of buying a house. He's just got so many life things that are going on right now that he basically is like, look, let me get past all this stuff. I'm in next year. But I do have a call out because all these other people we've already talked to. Okay. But there is a guy that I talked to at the Classic. He always talks a good game about everything until it's time to deliver, and then he goes back and goes dark on you. So we played phone tag the other day. He texted me, hey, I'm on the water. I'll call you when I get off the water. Then we played phone tag again. But I'm just going to call him out publicly because he's probably not going to do it because he's scared. He gets in a kayak like once or twice a year to get the kayak clickbait, and then he gets back in his bass boat. And that's Noah Piscatelli from Kicking Their Bass TV.
Oh, so yeah.
You guys head over to Noah's comment section. I think he's so bougie now that he don't even read his comments, so he might not see it. But if you guys hit him up on, let's see if this Mock Nation can step up and get behind their boy, because it would be cool. Y'all could all have color coordinated rods with matching handles, and you can make like neon green laces to go in your shoes that would go together with all your different colored stuff. And he could get you flat brims that are signed on the side. I mean, think about a little team of Noahs that all go to the gym together, and they all come in with a t-shirt that's one size too small, and then they all match. Dude, that would be such a cool team. So y'all do me a favor.
I just want to hang out with his dad.
Y'all go head over to Kicking Their Bass TV's channel, get in his comment section, fire him up, and see if he's like talking smack or if he's going to jump in and play the game, you know? So, so that's my call for the night. The rest of them, we've already talked. They're considering it. They're looking at all their things that are commitments that they've got and all that good stuff. But Noah, I'm calling you out, bro. Let's see what you got. You know, you talk about grinding and making some really cool, videos, throwing the top water up in the air and it's hovering before you reel it back in and some of that other stuff. Let's see about actually captaining a team and coming down here and seeing what you got, baby.
Woo. Let's see. Jay Wood has a question about what days the actual Hero Cup is.
Saturday.
So that he knows when to put his leave in. So go ahead.
Saturday is the Hero Cup. Actual Veterans Day, November 11th. November 10th, that Friday, is the fan fish off.
Yep.
That is going to be a 50-50 fan fish off. There'll be a relatively small entry fee, $50, something like that. 50% of that's going to be paid out. 50% of it's going to go into the Hero Cup to pay out second and third place teams. So that way there's more people that can win money. And so, yeah, I'll just call it. It'll be $50 entry fee, 50% paid out to the team or to the top five that win. And then 50% will be paid out to that'll go into the Hero Cup to
on
pay
top
out
of the 10,000.
Yeah, on top of the 10,000 to pay out second and third place. And so just for fat numbers, the top 5 members will split the money 5 ways. The 50%, the other 50% that goes into the thing will be 60-40. 60% of that money will go to second place, 40% will go to third place. That's how we're gonna that's how we're gonna do it.
That'll work.
And then we just build it from there. You know what I'm saying? And if you think about it, we've got a bunch of followers. Let's just say 1,000 people happen to show up to the fan fish off. That's $25,000. If you finish in the top 5, you're going to take on $5,000. That adds $25,000 to the pot. And then second place and third place will be massive. I'll have to bump first place up just so that it's not less than second place, which will be a good problem to have.
This is getting bigger than I thought it was going to be. I didn't realize you're adding all these teams.
Has this not been the best StreamYard test ever?
Heck yeah.
We're literally testing out StreamYard's new feature of being able to dual stream. So we're live on my channel, his channel, my Facebook, his probably. And we're doing it all as a joint thing where we're all in one StreamYard session, but connecting all of these channels together at the same time. He noticed it was a new feature and said, hey, let's do a mashup. And this has probably been one of the best lives we've done all year. This has been awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I like it.
We got to
So
do it.
I'm
We got to
talking
get.
to both groups of knuckleheads then for both of
All
y'all.
the knuckleheads.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, half the people when we were starting to sing up was like, "Who's Wendell Fishing?" If you read the comments early on, like, who is this guy? I'm here for JT. Ugh.
Now they're calling us out, Team Graybeards.
Yeah, Team Graybeards for the win.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, Chad, this is getting excited. So if you haven't done so yet, you go into work tomorrow, you need to request some time off. That's the first thing you do when you wake up. I requested my time. I am ready to go. I am pumped. I actually even signed up for all 4 months because I want to get into the fun starting in May, June, July, and August. So you will see me fishing against you. And it's my goal to take first, meaning that second place will actually be the person who makes the team. So I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be in there with you. Hopefully, I think I've seen John in his team as well, and I'm sure you'll see those popping in. But Chad, thank you for your time. We're a little bit over, so I'm gonna let you get going because I know you got your daughter probably like giving you the eyes right now, like, "Hey, I'm tired."
She's already punched me in the ribs 3 times. Went to Home Goods, did some shopping, came back, and yeah.
Kyle just said he just might quit his job. He's just gonna if they're not gonna give him the time, he's taking it. Well, thank you, Chad. Thank you, JT. You guys, anything on your mind? Anything else you want to finish us off with?
Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing to everybody. One thing that we are going to do along with the Knucklehead thing is the Saturday night and the Sunday morning, we're going to do fish camp. And the camp stands for Camaraderie and Mentoring Program, where we're going to talk about the programs that we're doing. We're going to let everybody talk about, why they are passionate about the charity that they're passionate about, expose themselves to the volunteer core of the other deals, because some people like to volunteer for more than one charity. And we're going to pool our resources. But more importantly, we're going to use this as an opportunity to set the table for in future fish camps, when we deploy them around the country, that we teach a group of veterans or homeland heroes how to fish for 2 days. And then they bring in a group of kids and they teach them how to fish based on what they just learned, that each one teach one and each one reach one concept. And so this is going to be the first year where we actually have fish camp. So if you guys haven't done so yet, think about contacting Ditto Landing, which is where we're going to be headquartered at, and book a campsite, book a RV slot, book your hotel in the area now before it gets crazy. There's Airbnbs, there's hotels. Once Ditto Landing fills up, there's several other campgrounds within 15, 20 miles. But you're going to want to be at Ditto if you can, because it's right there. Well, everything will be within walking distance or pretty close to it. And I'm going to try to make it fun. I've got a country singer who came down and we spent some time together the other day talking about something he's working on. I kind of give him a walkthrough with a bunch of different kayaks because he's getting into kayak fishing. He made the same mistake everybody else makes. He bought like a $400 kayak from Academy and was like, the seat sucks, the foot pedals suck, this sucks, my legs are straight, all this other stuff. And I'm like, dude, just drive down from Nashville. I'll walk you through 15 different boats, let you put them on the water if you want to. He left there with a decision on what boat he wanted. And he's clearing his schedule right now. And I'm probably going to call him out next for the Catch 22 challenge to get involved, to get his name on it, to help us share it with his social media, and to jump in and anchor a team on the Knucklehead thing, because he's got a huge following and he can actually fish. And so, the criteria for this thing is you can have a huge following, but if you can't fish, nobody wants to win their way on your team just to carry you. You know what I'm saying? JT's our only charity case, and that's just because we got to respect our elders. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody's got to be the oldest.
Love it. Last question, Chad. This one comes in from Lost and Tackle. What place does your daughter think you'll place in the Knucklehead?
Casey, what place do you think Team Chad is going to be in the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Challenge?
Well, if you're not first, you're last.
Boom! Did you hear what she said?
If you're not first, you're last.
I raised these kids on the Talladega Night philosophy. They were pretty much raised Ricky Bobby. So
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
I'll beat your ass, you old man. Pretty much is how my house was. If you ain't first, you're last. So
I can have this thing go all night, but we're gonna close it down. We'll have to circle back on this. This is a whole lot of fun. Chad, we'll have to
Oh
get
yeah.
your live show. We'll do all three, and we'll get
Yes,
this.
sir.
We'll get people on it. So thanks for your time, Chad. JT, thank you guys. We'll see you.
Thanks for having
JT,
me.
when? Yeah, for sure. I know, Chad, you have your live shows on Tuesdays as well, a little earlier than mine.
Yeah, I took a couple off, and I'm actually thinking about deconflicting, moving mine to another night, just because I'm always bumping up against yours, and we need to be able to spread the love a little bit. So I'm actually doing a little soul searching right now on where I want to do that and how I want to do it. So
All right.
Yep.
Right on. JT, when's
And
yours?
mine will stay on Wednesday for now, because the next person I'm going to have on is KBF national champion and Bassmaster kayak champion Russ Snyder's, and that might be tomorrow night, but I know he's pre-fishing for an event coming up this weekend, and I don't know what his signal is going to be like. If it's not tomorrow night, it'll be next Wednesday, so I will confirm with him again tomorrow. But yeah, really looking forward to that. It was awesome having Jordan Marshall on recently to talk about changes in places and things that he's doing, and then to follow that up with just the GOAT. Just the GOAT, Russ Snyder. So that will be a great conversation.
might
Looking
have to
forward
call
to
him
it.
and tell him to sign up for Team Chad.
Don't think I'm not a recruiting every hammer I know, homeboy.
All right.
Just being real with you guys, I'm not recruiting any of the competition hammers. I'm hoping that this becomes one of those things where just you're organically, people just kind of rise to the top, you know.
I want to see everybody have a shot, and I'm excited watching, some people I know. I fished with Liz down in Florida when I was visiting my daughter over Christmas, and to see her, sitting in second place right now, that keeps me pumped up, knowing that somebody that wanted to meet me and come fish with me while I was down in Florida when it was 29 degrees is actually in there, and then is right there on the top of the leaderboard. So I'm pulling for everybody in Team Gramps, and I can't wait to see what the teams look like when we get done with all this. It's going to be awesome.
Be awesome. Bucktail, final comment. New record for podcast length. He said, I haven't been in the comments much because I've been cleaning and organizing my garage, but I've been hanging on to every word. Thanks, everybody who's been hanging on. Hour and 42. This has been a blast. I know I've loved it. Guys, I'll be on next Tuesday. I got Kayak Angler Magazine on the live show next Tuesday at 8:30. Got Rick Burnley going to be joining us. So thank you, Chad. Thank you, JT. Thank you all listeners out there. We'll see you later.